Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining us on Fandom Entertainment. I'm Lon Harris. I'm here with Roxy Striar. We've got Ed Greer down there at the end of the table. We are here to talk to you about Doctor Strange in the multiverse. Not and the multiverse of madness, like you may have heard. He's in a multiverse of madness. We've all seen the film. I got to warn you right up top, we're going to spoil the heck out of this thing. We've all seen the movie. Roxy promises she saw the movie before we all got together.
I did.
I don't want no ambiguity about this. So yeah, we're going to talk about everything that happens, all the stuff you don't want to hear about if you haven't seen the movie yet. So please click off now if you don't want to have Doctor Strange 2 entirely spoiled for you. Okay, I think that's good. I think we're just about ready to get going. I got so much stuff I want to talk about with this movie. I do want to say thank you for watching, and be sure to click subscribe to Fandom Entertainment and watch our videos every day and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. And now, Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. Just right off the top, what did you guys think? How does this stack up to the other recent big MCU films for you personally? Ed, let's jump in. Let's start with you.
You don't want to start with me because I hate magic. Start with Roxy.
Okay, Roxy, we're going to start with you because you love magic.
I do.
Famously.
I do love magic. And actually, I pulled a quarter out of your... Look at that.
God.
It's so magic you can't even see it. No,
I showed up today with 8 rabbits. And I was like, what is this for?
I'm going to run around the studio away from her. Incredulous. Oh!
I do like magic, actually. Unfortunately, I don't love Doctor Strange as a character, but I like magic and I love Wanda. And so for me, I was really nervous going into this movie that I didn't think it would stack up to the other MCU movies, but hopeful that it would be better in my soul than Doctor Strange 1, which was a really hard watch for me.
Wow.
A really hard watch for me. And an even harder rewatch, despite everybody saying, did you watch it twice? Because if you watch it twice, you might actually like it. Spoiler alert, I didn't like it on the second time. And so this movie was better than Doctor Strange 1, but still not a top tier MCU movie for me.
Got it. Ed, I'm forcing you to talk now.
No, yeah. I think I might concur with Roxy on that. I do believe this is so ambitious, though, and it has such a voice that's outside of a little bit outside people are overstating Raimi's impact on this. I know we'll talk about it later, but I did feel him in certain areas of the movie. It's like, that's Raimi. Look at that close up when they just sort of smirk at the camera and spike the lens. You know, like, there were nice little Raimi-isms.
It's interesting too. I'm wondering how much of it is Raimi personally saying, "Hey, let's shoot this way because I'm Sam Raimi," and how much of it is his presence and him being a part of it gives all the other creatives a little bit more license to get creative and to bring those kinds of genre elements in, because it does feel on some level like, okay, Sam Raimi's directing. We're kind of saying this is the horror movie take on the MCU. And so I feel like a lot of the creative decisions were informed by that. Maybe not even necessarily Sam Raimi himself saying, okay, let's put blood all over Wanda's face because I'm Sam Raimi.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think that the Sam Raimi-isms of it all, I like that, by the way. I'm gonna take the Sam Raimi-isms. I think that was maybe some of the strongest stuff in the movie.
Sure.
Or at least what I'm attributing to be Sam Raimi's contribution, which I guess you're right. I don't know that he was like, this is what we're doing, but I'm gonna just assume the stuff that looks like Sam Raimi had his hands in the soup, it was his hands in the soup.
Yeah, and I think this is just as much as Ant-Man is a heist film. I mean, let's relax. It's not Ocean's 11. You know, as much as Ant-Man is a heist film, this is a horror film.
Right. I think they're always, it's like they're blends, you know? It's never like Sam Raimi's coming into the MCU and now we're going to get it's going to be like drag you to hell but superheroes. Like, or that I don't think we're ever even really expecting that. It's a mix. It's Chloe Zhao's going to come in and bring a bit of what she brings to her movies, and that will combine with what Marvel is doing, and you get this kind of mashup of it. I think that's the sort of best case scenario, and I do think that's what works best here. And in a rare thing for a Marvel panel, I liked this movie the best out of all of us. Like, I thought this was my favorite of the recent one, because I feel like it really goes for it. It feels more like those old school comic book movies where they weren't trying so much to be, let's totally break down what a comic book is and refashion it as cinema. And let's just like give in to the zany, anything goes kitchen sink comic book storytelling style. And I really like that. It didn't all work. I don't think everything, we'll talk more about all the details, but overall, I thought this was a lot of fun. I do want to dig into. You mentioned you're not a big fan of Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange and the MCU take. I do want to dig into the whys and specifically in this movie what you thought of the character.
Yeah, it's nothing actually. I don't want to blame it on Benedict Cumberbatch because I don't know. It's hard to identify exactly where it's not hitting for me. I can't say he's a very talented actor, so it's not that he's doing a poor job acting. And some of the dialogue and some of the scripts have been good that he's been in, but the combination of all the things, this version of Doctor Strange really irks me. And anytime any film that he's in, and whether it's a Spider-Man movie or an Avengers movie, no matter what it is, when he's on screen, I have that feel. And it really, when I'm watching him, I'm like, gosh, I just wish that I was watching a different MCU character. There are moments that I do like him, but then there are moments where he'll do something that's so different than that. And I'm like, I don't even feel like I'm watching the same character. And then, maybe I'm not. Maybe we wake up and decide that all of that was the multiverse and they're all variants. And
I really thought that was going to be a twist in No Way Home. Because I feel like No Way Home was really a movie where I noticed in the movie, like, he's not really acting like himself. He's got this kind of cavalier attitude, this sort of jokiness that I didn't think. So I sort of thought by the end of that movie, we were going to reveal he was a different wizard who was impersonating Doctor Strange or like, I don't know, a Skrull or something. But it didn't happen. I actually agree with you. I like him in this movie, but I do feel like even after all these films, it sort of feels like he doesn't quite know who Doctor Strange is or like which mode he should be in, and it does feel kind of inconsistent sometimes, scene to scene, like even how awkward he is with Peter Parker and his friends in No Way Home versus right away becoming a father figure quite easily to America Chavez.
Right, and similar age people, you would think that he would have a similar vibe.
He doesn't have that awkwardness with her at all. It's like right away, like, call me Steven, and like that was the whole thing. And you got anything to throw in?
No, I mean, I agree with you guys that it seems as though his characterization from movie to movie and second to second is but it's just it's like a combination of how like T'Challa is way different in his movie than he was in Civil War.
That's true.
That's one that I would notice because I was so like into Black Panther, and I'm just like, Black Panther is a king who comes and says, I don't care, I'll beat you up, I don't care, I have my own ends, I don't want to join your team, get away from me. You know what I mean? That guy, I love that guy. The sort of, hey, I want to go to heaven and do all this stuff and hang out. And when they shoot at me, there's no danger because my suit is invulnerable. That's a new guy. That's an invulnerable Iron Man in Africa guy where I wanted a king that beats everybody's ass. And likely in Strange, it's like sometimes he's overly officious and curt with people and I'm a surgeon. And sometimes he's like, I'm everybody's dad. I'm like a weird Superman that like, he does have a Superman problem. I just want to end off my comments with this. He has a Superman problem. He can literally do anything, so that's off the table. You don't have to worry about him not being able to win or not being able to do some sim salabim to get out of it. You don't have to worry about that. It's gonna happen. So the story must be his emotionality as he wins. And so it's a Superman problem. There's so much that has to be built around such an all-powerful character that if it's a little bit off, you start to feel like Roxy, or sometimes how I felt. And certain characterizations of him. Like, if he has no limits and there's no consequences, or then sometimes there's too much consequences, you know what I mean, for what he's doing, it just seems wildly inconsistent.
I feel like they kind of try to get around this by sort of, they're making him a doofus sometimes. Like in the Spider-Man movie, when Spider-Man figures out, like, oh, I can just use math to escape your mirror world, I'm going to trap you in here for half the movie. It's like, with that, he's supposed to be he's in the Illuminati in the comics. Like, he's one of the smartest characters in the Marvel Universe in the comics. I almost feel like this version conveniently sometimes becomes almost like too easy to trick.
I think that one of the ways this movie tried to combat that, though, was that Wanda has a little bit of a Superman problem as well. It's different. It's completely different because Superman doesn't have that same kind of hurt coming to the forefront where it's driving everything that he's doing and isn't, taken by the Darkhold and all of that stuff. But I do think that Doctor Strange has met his match a little bit here. It doesn't work for me, but at least we were giving a worthy opponent so that it wasn't just like, oh, Doctor Strange could flick and this person would fly away,
I think you have led us into probably the most divisive element of this movie, or the crux of what I think a lot of the discussion about the movie is going to turn on, which is the way that they use Wanda Maximoff, aka who's now fully the Scarlet Witch. It's a heel turn. And I mean, I really liked it. I thought it's probably it's probably the best heel turn in the entire MCU to date, I think. And that's such an interesting, fun thing for her to play. I feel like so many of these characters, they're great characters. We love these actors in these roles, but they're kind of there's a sameness to it that sets in. It's like every movie they kind of have the same role to play or thing to do. Like Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, it would be great to see him get to sort of stretch out a little bit and do something other than the Paul Rudd we all know and love being the same guy over and over again. And I thought that was so cool. I really loved it. And I thought Elizabeth Olsen totally nailed this. It's one of the maybe best performances in the recent MCU. I would say up there as a villain turn with Dafoe in the Spider-Man movie. And it feels very genre like that. I think a lot of the Raiminess of the movie comes out of the way he shoots her and he films her doing magic and her as this very powerful witch in this sort of demonic force. I really liked it, and I was sort of surprised after leaving the movie to see a lot of people felt very differently about her dark turn.
Well, yeah, I think they just wanted more plausible deniability. Like when they introduced that thing of like the Wanda is in there, like slammed up under a bunch of rocks and stuff, and she can't like she's in a smashed bunker.
Well, that's the other universe's Wanda.
Is that? I thought that was like a psychological thing because it happened in the mind plane with
I think it's because it's Wanda, the evil Wanda from our universe is projecting her consciousness into the good Wanda in the other.
Yeah,
so the good Wanda from the other universe is
Yeah.
the one that's buried under the Sokovian mental rubble.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, I get that, but it's still it's sort of the same thing. Though. It's trying to get at
It
that
totally
there's-
is the same thing, and I want to dig into that, but continue
Yeah,
your thought.
it just gets at that there's a good person in there, which gives us plausible deniability maybe for our universe that our Scarlet Witch that's acting like this does have her own trapped Wanda inside her.
Right.
That's a good person.
Yeah.
But then I think it's like Marvel's villain problem, because they keep killing them and stuff and doing weird stuff. Their villain problem is weird because they have to make their heroes into villains, and then later when they want to use them as a hero, I murdered everybody, but now I'm Loki and I get to come back and do my soft shoe because people like me.
I
Yay!
think we should start calling this the Deckard Shaw problem. It's the Jason Statham issue in the Fast movie. You kill Han, but they're like, join the team. You're a good guy.
I think that visually that was one of the coolest moments in the entire movie. But I'm with you guys. For me, and I know not from you guys. I'm looking at you guys at home. I'm about to get the heat because what I'm about to say is gonna bother some people out there.
Here we go.
And I know, I already know, but
Start making your clips right here.
clip it out. Clip it out. This is for you guys. I didn't think Wanda's turn was earned, and I'm not buying that. I'm a woman. I'm a mother. This is what it is to be a mother. I get there's precedent in the comics, but just because there's precedent in the comics doesn't mean the movies have earned this turn. And Wanda is my favorite character in the MCU. I love her. And in what we've seen from Wanda, she can withhold a lot. And this crazy woman turn really doesn't work for me. And I saw it coming because I'm a big Marvel fan. So of course I knew it was coming. But what I didn't want to see was what they did, which was she just kept saying, I'm a mother. I'm a mother. And it's like, there's a lot of mothers who don't go around mass murdering other people, including kids, you know? Like, there's a lot of mothers who don't do that. So,
Yeah, well, I mean, the movie is making the case that is self-justification because it's the Darkhold. Like, we've established in the film, if you use the Darkhold, even if your intentions are good, it infects you. And so I get what you're saying. And it is a trope. It is the crazed woman who's dealt with too much grief and now has lost her mind. That is a trope that they are playing into. I'm not arguing that at all. I do feel like they put the Darkhold stuff in there as best they could to offset the trope and make it more like, no, it's this dark magic has overtaken her and she's lost control. And there are the Wandas in the multiverse who have not experienced that same Darkhold magic are still the Wandas that we know.
it's just I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. We've seen it, and it's fine if I felt like we justified it because this was a slow burn. But it felt like one day Wanda was like, all right, I've got it together. And then WandaVision happened as a device to get to this. And it was like,
Well, that is just objectively true.
right, we're going to
like you're correct.
We're finally giving Wanda a project. And for the diehard Wanda fans who've been waiting for it, actually, it is just a precursor to Doctor Strange so that it makes a little more sense when she does really turn and start mass murdering. And I just wanted, what you guys have built is my favorite hero. You built my favorite hero, and then you decided, actually, she's a mother.
I guess my view is just that doesn't make her the like not the best character. Like if she was already your favorite character, now she's got this huge exciting thing that happened to her. Like she's not real, so you can enjoy her being bad, and you don't have to feel bad.
She's like just killing people.
But it's a fun movie. Like she's the star of one of the most fun, dark, weird, crazy movies, and she gets to really use her powers in ways we've never seen before. And like she's a super badass. Like I loved Wanda in this movie, and it wasn't like I didn't like her before.
You thought she was a super badass in this movie?
Yeah, I mean she's the villain, but like Killmonger's a badass. Like a lot of like Thanos is a badass. Like that.
Did you find her to be super badass?
I just think it's funny that your incredulous tone. You think she's a badass?
Like she's not. Nobody really died. Like you can have fun even as the entire Camartage it is wiped from the. Like
Okay,
Elizabeth Olsen didn't hurt anybody.
But that's the thing.
You know,
fun.
even in life.
Yeah, like it was just for fun. Like you can just have fun watching it, and you don't have to. That's what the magic of movies.
Most people feel the way you do. I'm the vast
No,
minority
I don't.
about
I don't
Wanda.
actually know if that's true. I saw
Okay,
a
well,
lot of people who agreed with you on the internet last night. And
No
this
way.
morning.
Send them my way.
For sure.
Come, honey.
I think there are a
Come
lot.
on
There are a
through.
lot of people who were big Wanda fans who do feel betrayed by this. That's why I wanted to talk about it. Who do feel betrayed by this heel turn. I'm not one of them, but that is definitely out there in the world.
I'm not betrayed. I don't feel like,
No, but I was
bummed.
fair.
I'm
Bummed
bummed.
out. Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
I'm bummed.
Well, I mean, but also it would have taken for me maybe like an extra movie or TV show
Had
or
a
two
whole TV show.
to get here. I know, but that's another thing. It's
Whole
like,
TV
okay,
show.
in that they maintained that she was redeemable. She didn't even have the dark hold at that time. She was just doing on her own recognizance, decided to make this town and torture these people. So she's already tortured innocent people to sort of do a heel turn, but then they got her out of it. And then she goes and she starts flipping through the evil book to get more evil. Like somehow to combat me being evil of my own recognizance, I should get this outside force to make me more evil. And last things last,
Double down.
This is where you need to cut me out.
All right, everybody.
Look,
Get
I
your-
would
get your-
not risk the universe and kill everybody in Camartage to hang out with those kids. That's what I'm saying. I just definitely
Some
wouldn't.
kids, but not
Some
those
kids,
kids.
not those.
He was willing to
kids.
risk the entire multiverse so like people wouldn't know Peter Parker's face, like so Peter Parker doesn't have to like move to a different town. He was willing to mess with the
Or
multiverse.
go to community college.
Yeah,
you
just
little
like
punk
dude,
ass.
just like go to Austin. They're not gonna care.
Do you
Get some
guys
barbecue.
know how happy I was when I was sitting in the theater? I'm sitting there, and so far, I'm like watching this movie with my breath. I'm holding my breath because I'm so nervous for what's gonna happen to Wanda. Then we see Wanda with these beautiful trees, and she's walking on through, and I'm like, oh my God, she's not the villain of this story. She's gonna be the hero. She's gonna help him, and she's gonna help America. Not the country, the person, and she's
forget
really
helping the country.
she's really gonna do it. And then everything turns, and I was like, to me? You're gonna do this to me?
You felt betrayed.
I know,
Almost, you would say you almost felt betrayed.
I would say I felt bummed. I felt highly bummed. In that moment, I fell for it. I was just wanting it so bad. And then I was like, wow, this is really, like, they knew the me's of the earth were out there. And they looked in the palm of my hand, they put something, and then they said, nope.
Yeah.
And I felt bummed.
Okay, but
I do. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, can we talk? Okay,
I want to switch gears, but I want you to finish off this topic.
No, okay. Well, on this topic, I was going to switch gears to just a little bit of, the story. I think part of what we're bumping up against is how the story was actually told and how we got to her being so evil or whatever. Because,
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I think that it was at such a breakneck speed that we were supposed to accept so many things.
And I'm not willing to accept it yet.
Well,
I'm just not willing to.
We're supposed to accept she's an utter villain. We're supposed to accept that America is this new character we got to care about for this whole movie. Obviously, people in the comic books know who she was. I'm just saying the way it was told. My girlfriend even said like I didn't get a chance to get used to anything. It just kind of kept bam, bam,
I mean,
bam, 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 bam,
I
bam.
feel like this is I don't disagree with you on this movie. I feel like this has been a thing in a lot of Marvel movies. It's not that they're short movies, they're long movies, but they all do kind of move at this rushed pace, like they're afraid you're going to lose interest in them. And sometimes it would be nice. Like, I agree on America Chavez and her intro. I totally agree. It would have been very, and I like the way that we join her in the middle of her adventure and then backtrack. I thought that was done well. I would have liked a little bit more origin time, a little bit more background time, a little bit more about her and her parents and what her experiences have been so far. Did you also notice Michael Waldron, who wrote this, also wrote Loki? And America's backstory and Sylvie's backstory from Loki are staggeringly similar.
Yeah.
Where they're these like orphan girls growing up alone, jumping from like universe and reality to reality, becoming these like, like independent, but also this driving need to like connect with people.
But in all fairness, that's also the same as every princess that's ever existed. You're not allowed to have parents if you're a princess.
Well, they're all orbit, but like the fact that she's on this like journey through different realities, and like that has forged her personalities, that she's always like hiding in these different universes that aren't her own.
Yeah,
but yes, you're right. They're all. It's all.
I was really happy with how charismatic she was, because otherwise we would have been screwed. Like, this actress is really good. So I liked her almost immediately. And that was important because they actually gave me no reason to really like her other than I just did.
I would have really liked to unpack the stars. Like, America is her name, and she's got an American flag on her jacket, and her logo and everything having to do with her powers is stars, but apparently it's just a coincidence and she comes from, like, Star World. Like, you got to give me a line of dialogue.
Well, I mean,
the S means hope on my world. I need one of those.
The star means what's up.
Right. Oh, we also have an America on my planet. Good. Great. Thank you.
Right,
okay.
right.
Mwah,
Like, they just sounded it out. They're like, you know what? Name it America.
Like, oh, she got a flag and a stars on her shirt.
Well, no, I also felt like there was just something about how quickly we're supposed to accept her, and also how we just didn't. I think you're right that they wanted to move so fast you didn't have time to question what's going on. And I think that was more apparent in this movie than any other Marvel movie that I've seen. And I think that's what took me out a little bit. I always knew that Scarlet Witch was going to be a villain, so I didn't feel betrayed.
Bummed out.
Bum trade.
My ex-boyfriend betrayed me. This movie's not going to betray me, okay? I'm not going to give it the satisfaction of betrayal. Yeah. I will not. Bum.
Not this time, Sam.
Not this time. You will not fool me again, Marvel. Never betray.
But yeah, I definitely agree with you that there was just something, that memory machine scene, bro.
Yeah, that's
stop it.
Can everybody see and hear what's happening? Like, if you just step there, anybody walking by.
I know. Like, you go there, you
there
see some weird memory, like I lost my virginity. It's like,
oh
it's
my
right
God.
there.
But isn't that also their business? Why are they giving it away for free? That's the
talk
thing
about
you're
it.
charging for.
There's one line that talks about, like, for an upgraded version, and
like,
I'm just like, isn't that the whole version?
It would be
We
like
just
a
saw whole
guy
thing.
standing outside Haagen-Dazs, like giving out vanilla cones. Like, no, we pay for that. That's
I guess
your
that's
business.
a sample. I guess it's called,
A free sample
it's
of
like,
your own memory?
it's
You know
like-
what your memories are.
Yeah, but what happens when you go to Yogurtland? You know what those flavors taste like, and I still sample like 12 of them.
I'm getting a sample to taste.
And then I don't even sometimes get the froyo.
I'm on the up and up.
That makes me a bad person, I know. But you sample enough, and you're like,
Yeah, I think you're
actually
just.
don't need that.
I think you're just stealing froyo. I think this just became a confession, but that's all right.
And yet I don't feel guilty about it.
Just big Pinkberry watching this, just
The
in shock and
man
horror.
is stealing from me.
Yeah.
It's been a long 2 years.
I do want to switch gears because there's a big thing we haven't talked about yet,
Okay.
which is the Illuminati. We get some very big. We get some cameos. We get some exciting faces from the past. We get some new faces. We got to talk about.
You don't
this.
think it's big?
It's big. It's
Okay.
big. I have a big question about Mr. Fantastic, aka Jim from The Office, aka
John Krasinski. I got you. Yeah.
Do we think this is definite confirmation, like he's our Reed Richards, or is this a one-off joke? Haha, you fell for it. He's an alternate Reed Richards.
I don't think it's either. I think this is not definite confirmation, and I don't think that this is a no. I think this is a, how did it work for you guys?
Ooh, testing the water.
You guys said you wanted, this was your fan casting. Y'all said this is who you wanted, me included. Here we do, there's a little sliver, and if it goes well, and y'all love him, and he loves being here, then yeah, we'll bring them on. But if not, you're welcome. That was our little fan
Yeah,
service.
they've
for
given
you.
them they've given themselves an out.
Absolutely, and it was really smartly done, I think.
I don't I don't know. He feels a little old to be starting out like as our new Reed Richards to me. Like,
Wow,
that's my,
super ageist.
yeah,
I
that's
know,
that's my
like-
take. I feel like you would start off that crew with a younger Reed Richards. Maybe that's just me.
Oh man, gosh, no, I agreed with that sentiment when they started with an old Batman in the Snyderverse. I'm like, dude, you can't start with him 50. You can't. You're starting a new universe. Stop it. But I do
Don't come
think.
for my boy. This is
Okay.
a Boston strong table. We do not.
Well, we got a bunch of Duncan under.
Batman
the table.
runs on Duncan. Listen.
But no, I do
America
feel.
Chavez runs on Duncan.
I do feel like he was okay. I felt like he was okay. I felt like his age was appropriate because I like the fact that Reed is the dad of the Marvel Universe. I would like that more than them getting some chiseled jawed Giga Chad to be this sort of rubbery faced scientist. I don't know why we would need that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I like the
Fair
direction
enough.
of like handsome guy, but sort of rounded, 1940s features. Just like,
kind of-
hey, I'm a good guy.
I just find him kind of boring. I guess Reed Richards is kind of boring. So it all fits.
yeah.
To me, I'm such a sucker that this entire scene, I was like geeking out, losing my mind. It made me think I love this movie. Like
we're
it was
very
so
opposite
crazy.
Marvel fans.
As-
We're very different.
Oh yeah, like they were like, oh, fan service, Roxy, this is for you because we've messed you up this whole movie, but now we're actually, when you leave the movie, you're gonna think I loved that movie because of this one scene.
Because like Wanda killing all of them, I liked way more than them being introduced and like, oh look, it's the Captain Marvel is a different Captain Marvel.
It was cool that we knew that she could do that. I like knowing that she is the most powerful in any
Yeah,
realm.
I mean, like that's what I mean when I say like this movie
That
really
she's
lets her
badass.
be a bad. Like
Yeah.
this movie really lets her be like powerful and like this huge threat that's like a bigger threat than almost any other MCU villain I could really think of. And like I thought that was really cool. I enjoyed it.
To me, this one scene with all of these reveals. It's
Yeah, you
not
got
'cause-
Anson Mount as Black Bolt is in
So
there.
cool.
Lashana Lynch as this universe's Captain Marvel, which
Makes
I thought was
perfect
really cool, and
sense.
it fits neatly with how they've been doing it. And then of course Patrick Stewart as
And-
Charles Xavier. He got a nice little chair upgrade.
And we get the little animated theme, and then
Yeah.
when we
Oh
were
yeah,
going,
they got a little play on the animated theme.
and
that's
we were
right.
going through all the universes. Remember, there's a paint universe, and then there's an animated universe, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my god, is that what's happening here? Like, this is him. Like, from where we're pulling him from? It's so cool. I was sitting there and just thinking, please let this last forever. Like, please, I want two things to last forever. I want us to check out every single one of those universes we drop through and spend at least 2 hours in the paint universe because I need to know more about that paint universe, and I want us to spend more time with this council. With the Illuminati, I need to spend time with them. Like, I need to know.
That's a shame because they're all.
Yeah, I understand that what I wanted from this movie is not what happened, Lon, and I feel very bummed about it. Yes,
Yeah.
we're clear.
You know what? I did feel super fan servicey, but like I couldn't feel as fan serviced as possible because my girlfriend literally was elbowing me in the neck from like so it was like she was so excited that
Yeah.
I couldn't be
me.
excited.
Yeah.
In you know what I mean?
Right.
In comparison, so I was just like, oh god, my neck. I was trying to be excited, but I had been elbowed, and it was just like
She's like this with her elbow.
Yeah, she's a
not
high
throw
elbow.
them-
I would
throw
think you
them
think of the
bows.
ribs.
Okay,
Yeah.
she's like,
Cadillac grills. No,
Okay.
it was definitely a fun scene, but I gotta say I enjoyed seeing Mr. Fantastic get twisted up like a Twizzler and everybody just get murked. That was great because you feel
Awesome.
like they're introducing such powerful characters, and the fact that Captain Marvel was the only one that was able to stand against her for any length of time was pretty in canon, justified, made sense. So that whole sequence, I got to say that sequence got me back. And that world, and even the Christina that world, if we could talk about that particular world was pretty great. It seemed to be the
Right.
world where science won. You know what I mean? 'Cause it
Yes,
was a
well, it's
little
like
bit,
the universe where there's an Illuminati, and so they've figured out a lot of that. They're cataloging the other multiverse, the other universes in the multiverse, and then they've got a lot of like high tech stuff that we don't have. So yeah,
and I liked her hair.
and then they've got their own Rachel McAdams with her own aesthetic and sense of style.
Equally as important to all the things you
Of
just
course,
said. I
of
really
course.
liked her hair in this. Yeah, I thought that was cool. And they gave what was the number of this planet that they gave us? 8 something.
868, something like that.
Something like
And then
that.
we
Eight
had
something.
616.
And then they do note, we get the first acknowledgement in the MCU that our universe is 616.
I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah.
Even to just like keep things straight for me. Like this is this planet, this is this universe, this is this universe.
Well, that does lead me into something that I felt like was a thing that is probably going to annoy people about this movie that I really liked, which is I felt like this movie is the first time in all these multiverse. We've had a lot of multiverse MCU stuff at this point, Loki, and we just had you get what I mean. No Way Home. Thank you.
I wanted to just let you suffer there for a second.
I'm getting old. I'm getting old.
It's a lot. It's Loki.
You know what I mean.
And it's other things.
There's Ant-Man coming. You got a lot of these. But anyway, we've never really acknowledged the sort of existential nightmare that is, of like never really knowing yourself, never really feeling like you own your identity, because there's an infinite number. It's just like what we were talking about with Wanda. Like, is that another Wanda in her mind from her own? Is that part of her consciousness, or is that a different Wanda? And like, is there a difference? If there's another Lon out there in a parallel universe, is his mind different from mine, or is it just like another aspect of my mind? And it's kind of the same stuff that Severance, the TV show, is sort of touching on. And I felt like this movie, for the first time in the MCU at least, really kind of like engages with that. Like, that is part of the nightmare that they're all experiencing, is like, I'm feeling guilty for things another version of me did, or you're judging me based on this person who's not me but is me. And it does kind of, it's like, in a weird way, this entire franchise that's built around us getting to know these characters really well and following them across all these multiple adventures. And this is almost like, well, you can't really know any of them, really. You're only ever knowing one aspect of them.
I'm with you. Here's what worked really well for me about this. I love the whole premise that you're not actually dreaming. You are thinking about, you're figuring out what you on another, in an alternate dimension. Every time I say parallel universe, I go into an entire Red Hot Chili Peppers like deep dive. So I just stopped doing that. So alternate, parallel, whatever we want to call it. I love that, because I'm somebody who totally geeks out on dreams. And what does it mean? And, I've spent a lot of time analyzing my own dreams and why the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles keep attacking me. It's like a weird recurring one.
So in another reality, you are...
This movie, like, really settled the score for me.
You're like friends with your April O'Neil in a different reality.
Like if April O'Neil was evil and the Turtles just like, get Shredder, and she pulls up her mask. She's like, it's me, Roxy.
I have a lot... I nightmare. I don't dream. And so I have a lot of crazy nightmares. And I'm like, wow. Okay, it makes me actually feel better that this is the version of life that I'm living here, when the other me's are stuck forgetting their lines every time they do anything, or having Raphael attack us, or whatever.
Imprisoned in the Technodrome. It's
so
a nightmare.
I thought that was cool, because it was clear, it was simple, it made sense to me. It might not make scientific sense, but I was like, oh, this all checks out. Like, that's what we're seeing when we, and the fact that she doesn't dream, that America doesn't dream, and that was like such a gutting moment. Yeah, I really loved that part of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what super worked for me, I like the way this movie looks for the most part. I think it varies a little bit from the Marvel standard, which every dummy's probably said already. So beyond that point, I liked the fact that I gotta go back to something I didn't like. I just wanted more of the I wanted more of the multiverse. I just felt like the way that they rendered the multiverses was great. That weird coming apart dimension.
Yeah.
It was great. I
felt like it owed a little bit to the animated Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. Like that sequence of them jumping quickly through all the different layers of multiverse. Anyway.
Yeah, I would have liked for them to be stuck somewhere. Maybe not the paint dimension, but just somewhere. Would it have killed you to do like a 4-minute sequence in that animated world where it's just like, are we going to be? And then something yanks you out of there.
Right.
Like a little bit more of the quantum leap of like, when we get someplace, it's all disorienting. We got to work it out. And like America, I loved that scene of America kind of taking over and being like, what? Food's free in most universes. Yeah. Nice little bit of social commentary, baby.
Incredible.
You know, and stuff like that. I love that so much that when we didn't get more of it, I felt its absence, because I felt like it wasn't delivering on the promise of the premise, as it were.
I don't want to correct you and make you feel bad, but it's really more like Sliders than Quantum Leap.
Okay, fine.
The jumping into the parallel universe.
You're right. So. They're running from Cro-Magnons.
Anything else wrapping up before we get to some fan questions? Because I do want to grab some fan questions.
Can
we talk about Mordo at some point?
Oh, right. Baron Mordo, or Carl. What did you guys think of the return of Chiwetel Ejiofor as Mordo?
I thought fine. Like not one way nor another. I liked that we didn't know what he was going to bring to the table. Like you don't know
Right.
good, bad, or other.
Mhm.
So I thought that worked well to keep us on our toes and keep you guessing. But I wasn't like, oh my God, clamoring for this moment like some people on the internet were.
I mean, my only thing was okay. Look, he's basically the Doctor Strange of this universe of that
Right, of
universe where
his
Doctor
universe,
Strange
yeah.
died, and he gets trapped in a hole, and Doctor Strange Jackie Chan's out of the hole, and he just there.
He just, like,
he just,
okay,
oh, I
you
gotta
win."
let you go. I got trapped in a hole, and the Sorcerer Supreme in a hole. You know what I mean? I thought that was like
Yeah.
so bad. But other than
That was
that,
tough.
I felt like if you start out with him being sort of mean and he turns out to be good, that'd be better than starting out with him kind of good and turning out to be bad. You can't be bad in every universe. You can hate Stephen Strange in every universe, but you can't be bad in every universe. You know what I mean?
I
That's
agree.
how
I
felt.
actually liked the dynamic of him coming out and us imagining this is going to be a fight, and then him going, "My brother," and like hugging him.
Mhm.
I thought that's the beat. Like, hold on that for the rest of the movie. That they're just in this one random universe. Mordo and Strange are good friends, and like,
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's more interesting. I also think that's more interesting for him as an actor to play because it's sort of one note. Like he's just
Mhm.
always Mordo is one note in this entire franchise, and so I didn't think it was that
Because
interesting.
it boils his beef down to, I'm jealous of you. Which, why wouldn't he be? I'm in the gym shooting jump shots. You come in off the lacrosse field
Yeah.
and just throwing it over your
Yeah,
head
yeah,
into the
yeah, of course.
basket. I hate you. I'm going to hate you. And now you're the best of us. Why? Because you got your hands broken in a car accident you caused? Why? Where's the justice in this world?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in that world, he worked hard to be the Sorcerer Supreme, and he got it. Let him have it. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. It's a weird like kind of an afterthought because he's such a great actor and he was in the first movie, and so that's one of those characters you would think we would be really excited to sort of
Yeah.
have come back, and it feels a little bit like a postscript. Speaking of postscripts, one other thing I realized we forgot to talk about, there is a post credit scene. There's two. One of them is Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi's good friend, goofing around. I loved Pizza Papa. I enjoyed that as an aside. But the one I got to talk about is Clea. We get Charlize Theron is introduced as Clea, aka Clea Strange, I believe, in Marvel Comics. If you go back to certain eras, what did you think of this? Did you see this coming? Are you excited for her? Presumably in Doctor Strange 3.
Charlize is my favorite actress. We have a lot of favorites and just
Wow, look at you.
non-favorites here, but
Yeah.
I was when I saw this, I was like, I've got to do my research. I got to
You
do
and me
some
both.
due
This
diligence
was a
right now.
Flashback to the era when those post-credit scenes, I would always be like, "Who's that big purple thumb guy?"
Because I didn't understand. I think to rewind for a second, though, I really love that they utilized Rachel McAdams more in this movie than they did in the first one. She's so forgettable in that first movie. She's so great here. My favorite moment in the whole movie was this 1 second where Doctor Strange says, "I love you in any universe," and I'm a lover of love, a shipper of ships. I'm such a sucker for that kind of thing. I was like, that was such a beautiful moment. And now, presumably, Charlize Theron and Doctor Strange are going to be together, and
Well, we're assuming. I mean,
yeah,
based on the
that's-
comics.
Right, presumably. I'm not saying for sure,
Right,
but
yeah.
that's an assumption that a lot of people are making. And I'm not ready to let go of this other relationship that might cause worlds to collide with each other. But like, I know most people don't watch these movies for the romance. 50% of me really does. Like, I love these ships. And so I got, when I started researching, like, who is she? What does she do? I got a little nervous because I don't want that yet.
Coming for Christine's mans.
Yeah. I mean, it is cool to see Doctor Strange jump into action. I still am curious about the third eye situation and what does that mean.
I don't really love how that looks. The way they're animating the
Very
third eye just
cartoonish.
kinda,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It could look like weirder. I think. I guess.
Yeah, it could look more magical.
It almost. Yeah. Right. It almost looks like they're trying to
Ah.
make it look like cool, and it's like, nah. The third eye is not cool. It's like you're a mystic. You know.
It should look like a different eye.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
yeah.
They
Like
took his eye and they just put
It's
it
too
there.
right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like. It's too digital or something.
but okay, wait a minute. What are we talking about now?
Clea,
Christine. Oh, okay.
Charlize
Now-
joining
now,
the franchise.
I loved her look in there because they have to get across that it's Clea very quickly. You know, they make her purple.
Maybe
they
to
put
you.
They gave her the yeah, I still didn't know, but they gave her the Halo weapon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have to get across that for. I mean, I wasn't the biggest Strange fan as a kid, but like the issues that Michael Golden drew were very instructive, and they have Clea in them a lot because at that time she was his girlfriend in the comic. She just got such an iconic look with her silver hair and stuff like that. She's like the Silver St. Cloud, that look. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just like this, like they give women iconic looks in lieu of personality a lot.
Yeah,
But
good.
Clea happens to have a personality as well, and she's a
Well,
magic
if you're pretty, you
wielder.
don't need a personality. So
Stop it.
let me
So,
have
but
it.
yeah, Clea has personality. She's got powers, and she's sort of when Wonder Woman and Superman were together, which is terrible, and everybody hates it. But at least if I'm flying out to space, I got a chick that can fly out to space with me. He's a magic guy. He's got a chick that can do magic and go to different dimensions, and he'll see if he likes that, if that type of companionship is best for him, or if Christine's husband messes up. You know what I mean? And
I
he
hope
can
he
fly
does.
back in.
I hope he betrays her and then she leaves. Yeah, that's what I hope.
Yeah.
So knowing Clea, do you feel like Charlize is the right choice to play Clea?
I like that she's basically age appropriate. They always kind of put these old dudes with these nymphs and stuff. She's an age appropriate love interest that radiates that sort of furiosa, for lack of a better word, power in her. You could see that she's a fresh magical user, and even if she didn't say something like challenging like she did, you would get her character by how she looks. So I think she's a perfect choice for Clea. I think in the comic book she's a little bit more demure, like, oh, I have so much power, but But I think
You're
this
gonna
Clea
cast
is like a
Charlize.
warrior. She's
Yeah,
like a straight
you're gonna
out
go for it.
magic warrior, like making swords and pikes and stuff out of magic. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm always excited to see her show up. She's a great. Obviously, I feel like we've been waiting for like, what's her MCU role going to be? Inevitably, she's going to show up in here. I hope they come up with a better way to use her than Fast and Furious. I feel like she's been really wasted in the Fast and Furious movies, and I was so excited when she got cast in those. She seemed like such a good fit for that world.
Wait a minute. You're gonna cast like one of the hottest, best actresses in the world.
Who has a personality also.
I said hottest, best actress.
I know, that's what I'm
You
saying.
you can't be a good actress without being smart. But the bottom line is the hottest, best actress, and they put her ass in a bowl cut.
That's the problem.
And she's in a-
That is the
and she's like
problem.
in a
That's
cage,
the problem.
in
I'm
a
so
closet
with you.
the whole time.
I-
It's just so wasted. She's so amazing.
You look
Why
like
would-
Mo.
I don't know
And
what
you're
they're
trying
doing.
to run the Interpol.
I don't know
What's
what they're
going
doing.
on?
It's
I'm
just
hopeful
unfortunate.
Feige has better ideas.
It's unfortunate because you don't have to do that with her hair. It's not relevant to the story. Why do they continue to do it? Change it.
Yeah.
Change it. It's not working. Hair grows.
Okay, I do want to jump into some fan questions. First one, Sky the Boss 96 has some alt Doctor Strange casting ideas for us, so I want to run some names by you. Do you think these guys would do a better job than Benny Cumberbatch? John Hamm.
Yes.
Ed, what do you think of a John Hamm Strange?
I think
Would you
he would
like a
be.
John Hamm
I think
Strange?
he would be basically as good. He's got a similar lack of range for this role.
How dare you?
To me,
I would
He's
like.
not as douchey outright. But I don't know if it's Benedict's fault. And he would have to have new dialogue.
Well, we're
too.
still gonna get through here because it's the fan question. Antonio Banderas. Would you like to see a Banderas Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
I feel like he could probably.
I don't know why. Just as a quick aside, I would love to see that, and I don't know why we don't have different faces in different universes. The fact that we're the same person is kind of whack to me.
The entire idea of a multiverse where all the people who are alive in our version of the universe are also alive in theirs does not actually make any sense. Because one difference, like if 200 years ago, like two people who hooked up with different people, like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people today would be different because it would have cascading. All those family trees are all different. You're not you. Everybody had different parents. So the idea that everything stayed enough the same to where like families are intact, and it's just like, oh, but I have a cat in this universe and I had a dog in that one. It's like it wouldn't work that way. But
Yeah.
If everybody has the ability to make choices on all of their planets, then maybe it would be the same. But if some planets don't allow people to make choices, then their children would be different.
yes, on Republican world, everything is very consistent.
I didn't say that. I just said choices on planets. Who haven't I pissed off today?
Lionel Jaramillo says, tell Roxy that she's right. It wasn't earned, but the movie was still spectacular. Otherwise, do you think you would have liked it more if you were given more time to experience Wanda's transition to her healer.
Well, for me, Mo Wanda, Mo better. Like, I want Wanda and everything. So, yes, I do think I would have liked it more. And I actually, despite the way it sounds, I did like a lot of this movie. Like, the parts of this movie that I liked, I agree, they were really strong. Just in general, there were some wonky things that made me think this is not a top tier, top class MCU movie for me.
Yeah, I wanted more time with Wanda as well. So I guess it's just like you said, Lon. She had a whole television show, but she spent half of it doing old Howdy Doody episodes or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like I felt like if we use that time to develop her character instead of her playing around, then I would have felt okay. But I feel like they wasted literally half the series not actually developing her character, just getting us more into her psychosis. Whereas I feel like, or rather showing us her psychosis rather than sort of explaining it or having the world react to it.
We also, WandaVision doing a lot because they also were laying a lot of groundwork for the Marvels. Like you're following the entire Monica Rambeau storyline through that as well. So really a lot of legwork being done in that little, not very long TV series.
What about people who didn't watch WandaVision?
Oh, you're screwed.
You're screwed.
If you,
Yeah.
you- I think that's the one thing. If you haven't seen it, it would really impact your enjoyment of this movie, even more than Doctor Strange 1. I feel like this is really like the second half of WandaVision in some ways.
Yeah, more than the Spider-Man movie, more than Doctor Strange, more than
The
anything
Spider-Man movie
else.
just gets mentioned. It
Yeah.
really doesn't link up very much at all, other than Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme now.
They are really going out and saying, if you do not have Disney Plus, you are no longer able to enjoy these movies the way that people who
Right,
have Disney
at least
Plus
in the
do.
same way.
Yeah.
Oh, just last things last on that point. I think it would have made a nice. You do this goofy ass Avengers movie they're about to do with like Rhodey and 5 kids or whatever, and Wanda, right? And at the end of it, they got the enemy subdued, and they're gonna take him to the place, and he breaks out one last moment, and he gets lethal weaponed by Wanda. She just rips his whole face apart or destroys him. It's like, wait a minute, like you were just good 5 minutes ago. You needed to go. Peace. And she just flies off. It's like, oh man, this chick's an asshole now. You know what I mean? Just something to show that, like, just a little bit more of that. I tried to be good, but you know what? Expediency and my dope magical powers say that I'm right all the time.
Right.
And I just felt like that was just like that. We're supposed to accept that she's like that based on us seeing her floating reading a book at the end of WandaVision.
Right.
So it was quite enough for you. It wasn't quite enough for me. And she was betrayed.
I was
Deeply betrayed.
Bum.
One
No.
more. We'll close on this one, I think, because we're almost out of time. Matan Valensky asks, can you talk about the Avatar The Way of Water teaser that was attached to...
No, we're saving it for Spencer's reaction.
Oh, okay. We're not going to react to that. We're going to... Then don't put it on my notes. If
Wow, you were just set up for
I
failure.
know, right? Why is it here in my notes? So we'll move into a different Matan Valensky question. What do you think about the constant wooing and cheering that No Way Home and this movie had in theaters, but not the Batman in his experience? Did you experience that? Were there whooping and cheering when the portals opened and everybody appeared in this movie?
This is such a crappy answer, but I go to the critic screenings, so it's not the same as going to like opening night of thing of people.
It's true. It's not
cheering.
like.
Yeah.
Although I will say, I went to critic screenings for some of those big Marvel movies, and they still get big reactions.
So the things that got reactions in this were obviously like anytime there was a new reveal of an actor playing a character, whether that's in the post credit or in the Illuminati.
So people did cheer when they saw
There-
like Reed Richards.
I was instead of cheer, I would say it was more like
Right.
a lot of that. There was a big reaction when that spike goes right through Doctor Strange falling onto it, the gory moment.
Yeah.
There's a reaction there. But I think that the Batman would be a little weirder to cheer at because I really like that movie, but it's not really like a, this has magic and cheering things. Like in the
No.
Batman, when he comes out with all this stuff and you're like, yeah!
Yeah,
So,
when
like,
you're supposed to
portal
cheer, it's
opening
like-
and the Mad Hatter comes
It's like,
out.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, Ridley beat that dude to death with a carpet tool. Oh!
Look at the water pouring down. Go water!
I feel like the one part maybe would be the reveal of the Batmobile
Yeah.
when you're cutting to Penguin's terrified face, and then it like the blast
I
when it
feel
takes
like
up. I feel like that part
And we
maybe some
did.
cheers.
I think
yeah.
it was kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that maybe got a jolt out of the
Can I say
crowd.
what happened in my theater when the Avatar thing came on though?
Please.
You waited too long. I don't care anymore, bruh. That was
Yeah.
literally a heckle that I
Perfect.
heard. So
I love that person.
I would say from my screening last night, I am pretty sure I was the only person in the entire theater to recognize Anson Mount as Black Bolt, and that this was a specific callback to that terrible Inhumans TV show.
Yeah.
Because I reacted, everybody else was. You could feel the confusion in the theater of like, who is this guy? And I've never heard of this before.
Luckily,
And-
it didn't matter. Like for people who couldn't
No, it's
pick,
just
yeah.
it's a throwaway gag
Yeah.
for if you recognize him and remember that terrible show. It's a funny beat, but I was proud of myself for being the only insider who was like, I catch your Inhumans reference.
Only
Yeah, I mean,
insider.
And Anson Mount-
Blackazar Boltingen or whatever his name
You
is.
proud of yourself?
I'm
Yeah,
very-
you're proud of
I'm
yourself for
very
that one.
proud.
Dude,
Okay.
Anson Mount is criminally underused. I frankly love Anson
Well,
Mount.
Star Trek Strange
I-
New Worlds
no, I-
debuting
I-
this week, sir.
I had just watched him in that, and so when I saw him on screen, I was like, "That's my boy." I knew it was Black Bolt because I'm a comic book fan, but like when somebody tweeted that you had to know these 2 episodes of Shield and this couple episodes of Inhumans and this, that, and the other, I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Mhm.
And I knew I would still understand what went on, so it was, it wasn't necessary, but it was helpful.
You don't need. It's just a gag, but if you do recognize him, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, if you know how powerful Black Bolt is, it is a super put over when she just rips him apart. It's like,
Yeah.
damn, she housed Black Bolt like that. And then I love Patrick Stewart being okay with dying. You know what I mean? Like I love that because he was the one who put up the most fight because he has in a way the most power out of everybody.
And
But
he's like a good power match for her. You know, like they're both like the
Exactly.
psychic, they can get in your head people.
There was such
Yeah.
a sad scene when he's in there and she's stuck under there and he's trying to grab her.
Yeah.
But it looked cool with all the white and red.
Yeah.
I
was like, "Oh,
really
that's
liked
dope."
The
I really
mindscape
like
stuff.
that.
All right,
Yeah.
if we're gonna end on stuff that we liked, I also
Yeah.
loved the animation of the corpse situation. I love that. For some reason, it was so goofy and dumb.
It was weird.
And trust me, it was so off-putting and kind of weird, but I liked it because it was like I would have never thought of anything like that. To make a cape out of dead fools and fly to save the
Yeah,
day
I mean, that's
in
the
a
kind of
dead
stuff.
body. That's
That's the
crazy
kind of stuff that I just loved. Like, I
Yeah.
was just like, this is why I want to go see a comic movie. See, like,
Yeah.
crazy, wild, imaginative things you would never have thought that you were going to see. And I mean, specifically, I think that's what the Doctor Strange character in that world brings. Or, like, those surprising moments. Like, the first time you saw him do, like, the multi-armed spell where he
Mhm.
becomes, like, the Hindu god move. And, like, there are all these cool moments and visuals and things you didn't think you'd get to see or didn't know that was in his power set. And, yeah, that was that kind of stuff was my
I mean,
favorite.
just
It's a-
overall, this movie is a string of pearls, but every fourth pearl is like a jagged rock, and you're just like, geez, that's on my neck. But it's pearls. It's so sick. But it's got little pieces that don't quite match or take you out of the movie. And Benedict Cumberbatch sometimes is one of those. Sometimes his portrayal of Strange is one of those, and sometimes it's just deciding to spend 2 seconds in the animated universe rather than 5 minutes like I would have wanted.
Yeah, there are some really cool moments like you're talking about. I do like the things that are strange because this is Doctor Strange. So when we're gonna get the cape of the dead people and the zombie stuff, that's fine with me. The things that I don't like are when we start with a 10-minute eyeball monster. I don't need all of the CG monsters. There's no emotional stakes in that for me. So some of the strange looking things are cool, and some of them I'm just like, can we go back to somebody
This-
make out with somebody? Come on.
This does that's
Make out with an eyeball monster, Doctor Strange. Do it.
Kiss 'em.
This does test your much like the end of Incredible Hulk and maybe even the end of Shang-Chi and maybe even the end of some other movies. It tests your ability to watch fake things fight other fake things.
Yeah, and
It
Shang-Chi, that
tests
was the
your
part that didn't work for me
patience.
either, even though I
Yeah.
love that movie. I
like the kaiju fight in Shang-Chi. I thought that was fun.
I have a
well,
hard
I'm
time.
just- it was good. I like the dragon, but I'm just saying, it tests your ability to watch things that are not there, interact with other things that are not there, and the amount of. I mean, I felt like I felt like an old person watching comic book movies where it's just they sort of put the hands out and then the stuff comes out of their hands and the stuff from the hands hits the other
Yeah,
stuff from the other
they're
person's
better
hand.
at
this
framing
isn't
it.
cinema.
This isn't as bad. Like some of those late X-Men movies are really guilty of like they're all just doing this thing. I thought they handled it a little bit better. There are definitely some moments like that. When everybody's when they're all like arming their shields in Kamartage, that's definitely a like, okay, everybody wave your hands like this. All All right, I think that's everything. I think we covered all the major beats. Thank you so much for watching and joining us. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, all the other things that you would do during the point in the script where it says outro and end cards. I'm Lon Harris for Roxy Striar, for Ed Greer. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.